Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Monday, September 14th, 2020. I am Sybil Wilkes and welcoming to the What You Need to Know stage. I say stage to make him feel a little bit more at home. I welcome my friend Guy Torry, a comedian extraordinaire and Renaissance man around town. And Guy, I really appreciate your coming in today and being a part of this. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
No, thanks for having me. It's one of the few things that's keeping me sane. The screws are starting to fall out.
We will talk about the difficulties of being a performer and no place to perform as we go on. I want to start off by reminding folks tomorrow, if you don't already know, we're going to have a very special event tomorrow. It's
Right.
going to be a Divine Nine Leadership Roundtable. All the presidents of the Black sororities and fraternities are going to be here, and we are going to activate. I'm sorry, to educate, activate, and motivate people as we prepare for the November 3rd election, which is 7 weeks from tomorrow. Of course, you have the opportunity to vote early, but you can't vote after November 3rd. so,
Now,
this,
now, are GDIs welcome?
yes, GDIs are very welcome because, hello. Yes, absolutely, you are welcome.
Independence.
And
So
so,
you don't have to
so
be in a you don't have to be in a fraternity or sorority to tune in. That's
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And Guy, remind me that we talk about your preparing to go into a fraternity
Oh
back in the
man.
day. That's a great story that I have not forgotten. Back in the day on the Tom Jordan Morning Show, Guy shared with us how he prepared to go into a fraternity. And so we'll talk about that. But tomorrow, the Divine Nine Leadership Roundtable, all the presidents of the nine historically black fraternities and sororities, they will be here tomorrow, and that is at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and 4 o'clock on the West Coast. And as I said, it's going to be a great day. We're going to have some guest appearances by some of your favorite fraternity and sorority representatives, entertainers that you know and love, and they will be dropping in, as well as our friend John Murray. And we will look forward to your participation. Tell everybody this is going to be a very special event and chock full of information that you may know or you may not. But if you do know, you're still going to learn something, I promise, and we'll want you to share that with other people who do not. So keep that top of mind. Put it in your phone, all of that. And as Guy says, you do not have to be a member of one of the fraternities or sororities to participate, to be here tomorrow as we go live on Facebook and at YouTube Live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So,
Nice.
J. Anthony Brown is not here. He's under the weather. And I am so glad that Guy Torry, because Guy Torry not only is probably one of the smartest comedians that we have on our staff, but he is also one of the most, he has the most varied interest of anyone. And he is all things sports, news, cigars, cooking, women, you name it, you name it.
Gossip.
Man, you got it all. And so you are one of your scope is just so large. And I wanted to talk to you because, especially because after watching the game last night, in a Dallas Cowboy town, and watch your Rams just take them apart last night. And not only did the Rams win and win, with a great deal of strength there, but in your new home.
Yeah. I went and took a tour of the new SoFi Stadium, which is awesome. And I've been to AT&T Stadium there in Dallas and in
Mm.
Arlington, and that's a great stadium as well. I've been to the Mercedes in Atlanta for the Super Bowl that we lost. That's a great one, but this one is by far the top. $5 billion they put into this thing, and it's like it's incredible, and it's crazy because it was empty yesterday, other than the players and the staff, but
Yeah.
it's a great stadium inside and out. They have a man-made lake. They have the whole theme of LA, on the theme on the inside of the stadium, and to see the Rams win yesterday was just great, because I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie, they beat us pretty bad. Cowboys beat us pretty bad last year by
Yeah.
20 points, I believe. So this year, it was great to have, to score the first touchdown
Mm-hmm.
in your own brand new stadium, and to
Yeah.
get the first victory in your own brand new stadium, all at once. So that was great. And to beat the Cowboys, woo, the most delusional fans ever. Yes, love it.
Well, Guy, and tell us where the new stadium is located. This is what's so cool too.
It's in Inglewood, man. Inglewood, right next to the Forum, the fabulous Forum, where the Lakers won all those championships. And it's also where Hollywood Park was, a famous racetrack. I've been to a few
Mm-hmm.
races there, and so now it's in that location. So that property, Inglewood, a lot of people property values are going up, and a lot of Black people who live in Inglewood, man, are benefiting from. Some aren't, but some are benefiting from their property values going up, and the
Yeah.
stadium coming there. And now, thank God, the Clippers will be moving there once their stadium is built. So it's going to be great.
That is so awesome. And speaking of
So I
property
want the
values,
Clippers out. I want the Clippers out. I want the Clippers out of the Staples Center. Is what I said. Thank you, Jesus. 'Cause I want the Clippers gone.
you want all of that energy gone from the Lakers stadium, and so the Staples Center can be all yours as a Laker
All
fan.
Lakers, all Sparks, and all Kings, and all concerts. That's it. We don't need Clippers in there anymore. Get out. Get out. They ain't helping us decorate. No banners hanging up. No Clipper banners.
Oh,
Lakers
you don't
got
want any
banners.
of that. Yeah.
But they don't have them. They don't have any to
Yeah.
hang up.
Yeah.
The hockey team has some.
Right.
The Sparks have some. The
Sparks.
WNBA team. The Lakers have 16. Even Taylor Swift has 2 banners hanging up in there for most sold out shows, and the Clippers have none.
So they'll go somewhere else and get that mojo, that whatever that energy is they
Kick them
have,
out.
move it
Kick them out.
somewhere else. Move somewhere.
That's
Guy,
that's
you did
sterling.
something on your Instagram. You took us on a little mini tour, didn't you,
Right.
of the
Yeah.
stadium? That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
They made us wear
That's
hard hats. I
yeah.
messed up.
You had the emergency equipment on, the vest and the hard hat and everything. That was very cool.
They made us do that. And what's messed up is I wore a suit, and I wore a suit with tennis shoes with no socks, right? So when you got there, you had to wear, boots.
Right.
So they provided boots, and I had no
Yeah.
socks. And I
Oh,
had
and
to
you
wear
were
boots.
oh
I had to put
oh
my bare feet in those
in
boots,
somebody else's boots.
and it was already moist. Ah.
Ah!
I put my feet in, and I swear to God, I was throwing gang signs with my toes because I had them all squinched up. Because I enjoyed the tour, but my feet. I got home, I soaked my feet for an hour. I put some tough acting Tanatkin on it. But it was Sybil. I'm a little OCD.
I know.
So to have my bare feet in somebody else's boots that was already moist,
Ugh.
it smelled like boiled eggs, man. It was nasty.
Oh, bless your heart. That had to be a tremendous sacrifice on your part for a stadium that you're going to grow to love, but for a team that you
Yeah.
already love, and to take us on that tour the way you did. So that was hard duty for you. I can imagine. I'm surprised you didn't have somebody just there to boil your feet right on the scene before
Oh
you
man,
put on your tennis shoes back on.
I should have. I should have walked out barefoot and just wait till I got home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Been a
that
white
was.
person for a minute. They be on the airplane walking barefoot to the lavatory.
Okay. Yeah. Do they still do that? You've been
They
on a
still
plane
do
since
that.
I have. Oh God.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they
Okay.
still walk.
Some things never
Yeah.
change, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit of news and talk about the election. Are you ready? Are you ready for 7 weeks? Are you going to wait for November 3rd? Are you going to early vote? What are your
It's
plans right now?
November. It's November 3rd
Mm-hmm.
or November 28th. Because Trump said to a group, speaking to a group the other day, he said
Right.
November 28th.
Right. I don't know where that. I don't know where that came from, but yeah. What the what?
I hope Republicans do go vote on November 28th.
That's fine. That's fine.
Go
You're right.
ahead. Go ahead.
You're right.
I'm
You're
ready.
right.
I'm ready. I'm
I
ready to vote. I haven't had my salon yet. You know, the meeting that we had with the group in my building where we go over all the other things we're voting on, all the other people we're voting on. So I'm
mhm.
waiting on that. But yeah, I'm almost ready.
When will you guys have that? How close to the election do you think they'll schedule that?
Probably have 3 weeks out.
Oh, okay.
3 weeks out.
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks
Okay.
out. That's usually how we do it for a normal election. But 2 to 3 weeks out.
But what is normal about this election, Guy?
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing. Nothing.
Do you guys you have local elections going on in California as well?
No, we had them already.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we
So
had them already. Yeah.
What happened with the LA district attorney, the black woman who was under fire?
You know, a lot of people were upset, you know, with her, but I know I followed that story for a minute, and
Yeah, me
then
too. And then it just kind of
and
fell
then
off my
it's just because
radar.
it fell off the radar here, especially when the fires started
Right. Yeah.
and the numbers started going up. It kind of didn't catch any traction. Now, you know, the big story out here are the officers, the two sheriff deputy officers that got murdered. Well,
Shot.
not murdered,
Yeah.
the shot because they're still
Yeah.
alive. Thank God they're still with us. But
Right.
that's been all over the news and all in the cigar and not barbershop, but cigar lounges and street corners talking about that.
And that's awful. And the search continues for the shooter in that case.
Yeah, you know what's weird is that now all the police, like I rode by police headquarters last night, which is
Mm-hmm.
downtown LA, and they started having police officers guard the station. So I think a lot of police
Oh
stations are
yeah.
just being on guard, and they're
Sure.
putting policemen and policewomen around all these police headquarters now and stations. But it's what's intriguing is that they got $100,000
Right.
reward out for
Reward.
anybody with questions,
Yeah.
but nothing for Breonna Taylor yet, and you know who did that.
Yeah. That's putting it in perspective. You're absolutely right. And God knows we don't want our police officers to be
Not
taken
at
out
all.
like that. The suspect in the shooting is, as Guy has talked about. This happened Saturday night as two Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department deputies were ambushed and shot as they sat in their patrol car in Compton.
Right.
And according to the Sheriff's Department, both deputies, one male, one female, suffered multiple gunshot wounds and in critical condition. And one was a mother of
Yeah.
a little boy, I believe. In
Hmm.
the press conference, the sheriff said that the shooting was done in a cowardly fashion, and the deputies were both being treated at a local medical center in Linwood. There is video, and a lot of more video and audio has come out as a result of this shooting, and it was tweeted by the sheriff's department showing the gunman walking up to the police car, opening fire on the deputies, obviously without warning, around 7 o'clock, and the suspect is shown approaching the vehicle from behind, walking along the passenger side, and shooting the deputies. And then the suspect in dark clothing ran away.
Yeah,
Um,
we can't. I mean, I pray for those officers this morning and their families, and everybody knows. Most people knows how I feel about law enforcement right now. It's not. I don't
yeah,
have the greatest feeling, but in this case, I don't want to see that happen in any
no,
case. And there's a gentleman who comes down to one of the cigar lounges who's an officer. We have great dialogue about policing and sheriffs and things like that. And I reached out to him and said I hope you catch the guy or whatever. But a lot of people are just upset, even if in Compton. I mean, for some of the things that happen, the way the police officers treat people,
yeah,
they're tired. I'm not saying this is justifiable, a justifiable shooting,
hmm
although most most of the shootings that have happened in the last few months of black people, uh, my friends say who are police officers, they're justified, and I'm like,
mm,
how could you say they're justified? And I'm
wow,
like, and we got into big, huge arguments, like where I had to walk out before I started swinging, to be
hmm
completely honest.
hmm
And it's to the point to where it's like they're wired messed up. They're
yeah,
wired so it's almost like they can't help themselves.
mm,
And just as they're wired to treat a person a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
or look at somebody a certain way, we're wired our way to respond a certain way, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because of that, because
Yeah.
of what we receive. And it just keeps happening. And for those out there who keep saying, why don't you just comply? Well, when you comply, you're still going to die. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. It's all wired up. It's funny. I read an article about a gentleman who the movie American History X that I was in was inspired by this guy's story, who turned his life around from being a skinhead and became a righteous citizen now. But he said a lot of his old buddies who were in the skinheads with him are now police officers.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of those white supremacist people have infiltrated, or not infiltrated, just are police officers now, detectives, officers, and that's scary. So it
Yeah.
explains a lot of the beating, the lack of patience, or just the disregard for human life when it comes to African Americans
Yeah.
or brown community.
And you know what, Guy, and speaking of how they make that turn and that transition, I was listening to an interview about a new podcast that's starting called Say Their Names, and it's about
Mm,
Black people, especially who have been killed by police or seriously injured. And there was a case back in 1993, I believe it was 93 or 94, in which a young Black man, 24 years old, was pulled over for suspicion of a DUI. And however this happened, he's sitting in the front seat of a police car and handcuffed, and he was shot 14 times by police.
mm,
Uh, Nothing was ever done to these police. And as a matter of fact, these police, it was in the Baltimore area. So these police have moved out of that police force and gone to other
to
jobs.
another one. Yeah,
They're still on the force. Here we're talking
right,
what 27 years later, and this is whatever their previous employment is, as you say, or whatever their occupation interests are, skinheads and neo Nazis and what have you,
right,
and becoming
right,
police officers, and then able to leave beyond that. More cases of police abuse. This is going to be in the newsletter tomorrow. So just and people are talking about this. This is a case in Clayton County, Georgia. The sheriff's deputy has been fired for excessive force after the video release of him repeatedly punching an African
right.
American man. And the man, and this is, we'll talk about it. But the man who was beaten was a passenger in the car. He
Right,
wasn't even driving, and they asked for
right,
his ID. He wanted to know, why you need my ID. I'm not driving.
right.
I'm a passenger. And that's when this cop just, beat. And I
See
don't
that?
know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll tell you why. And I'm not. I can't speak for Georgia, but I can speak for the sheriff I talk to on a regular
Mm-hmm.
basis, and they say they just will stop somebody randomly for no
Yeah.
reason. And I'm like, why? I said that's because we're rolling the dice. We want to see if they have any warrants or if they're on probation. I said, but if they're
Mm-hmm.
just walking down the street, and even if they're on probation, they're just walking down the street, they're not violating any of their probation laws, or they're not breaking the law.
Right.
Why would you arrest them? Well, we have the right to stop and question them, and go check their houses and see. I was like, that to
This.
me, that's wrong. I said, because if I'm walking down the street, I mean, I can get stopped. You say, well, guy would know you're not a gangbanger. Yeah, you know that,
Right.
but your colleagues don't know that.
That's right.
I don't
That's
assume they
right.
know who I
You're just
am.
another Black man walking
Another
down the
Black man.
street. Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. But that's why I said that's how they're wired. I said, if someone's minding their business and they're not committing any crime, I understand you have to prevent, but that means you can stop me for no reason.
Right.
And I've been stopped like that several times for no reason. So it's just scary.
It's frightening. It to this day. I mean, you think about this case that I was talking about in Baltimore, and 27 years later, it's still going on. And despite the discussions that we're having, and the cases of well, let's talk about Daniel Prude, for instance. The mayor of Rochester, New York,
Yeah.
has just fired everybody. She's like, no, all of you all are gone. The police chief, the leading attorney, all of you guys are gone because of the way you have handled this case, which happened in March.
Right.
And this young man was this mentally unstable man, visiting his brother from Chicago, and suffocated as a result of their interaction with him.
And then
Go ahead.
And his brother is the one who called
For
them.
help.
It was a non-criminal
Yes.
call. There was
Yeah.
no law broken. He was concerned, and I heard a lot of health professionals who deal with mentally ill patients say that when they have an episode like that and the person is black, they're scared to call the police because of how the police
Yeah.
react.
Respond. Yeah. And this
They
is a
kind of like
perfect example, Guy, of what people are asking for in the effort to reform the police department or
reform.
to recreate us to have mental health experts on the staff so that they can go
Yes,
out on these calls. That if that had been available in Rochester, perhaps Daniel Prude's life would have been saved. Perhaps Elijah McClain in
yes,
Colorado, his life could have
yes.
been saved as a result of because they were just so ignorant of how to approach this kid and to deal with him, and he ended up dying as a result of their interaction with him. There's just, I mean, there's countless examples, and especially when you talk about mental health care
Eight
and the
hundred
lack
hours is not
thereof.
enough.
Yeah,
800 hours
exactly.
of training is not enough.
Apparently not. And it's shown it over and over and over and over and over again that it's not
Yeah,
enough. You know,
yeah.
I started off by asking you if you were ready for the
The election.
election, and because things are happening at a pretty rapid pace, and a lot of money is being spent in these
Yeah.
elections. They're even talking about the Trump campaign running out of money. They don't have enough, and he might have to go into his own pockets. Although we're not really sure how much he does really have or doesn't
Right,
have.
right.
Um, but Michael Bloomberg has come
Yeah,
up with and has written a pretty hefty check or is scheduled to write a big check for $100 million to help the
yeah.
Biden campaign in Florida
Florida.
alone.
Yes.
Nobody else, just Florida.
Yeah, just Florida because that's a huge swing state. I
Yeah,
mean, with Trump having all his properties there,
yep,
where there are a lot of retired, a big retirement community who are
yep,
Republicans there,
yep.
uh, and a lot of Latinos and
And the
a lot
Hispanic
of
vote.
and
Yep,
Hispanic vote. A lot of Hispanic vote is and a lot of Hispanics are Republican because of the
yeah,
conservative view.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
don't and I've talked to a few here who
Hmm.
are from East LA,
Hmm.
and they are Trump supporters, like staunch Trump supporters. And I'm like, how? And he said, we don't want immigrants coming in here either. I'm like, what? But your parents came in that
Yeah,
way.
how
Oh
else
yeah,
did you get? Yeah, yeah. Or you
but
came
that was
you
them.
came in a boat 90 miles away from Cuba, and you
Yeah.
were they don't want
And
it.
you mentioned Cuba because another guy I talked to who was Cuban, who he was saying, because of the stock market. Have you seen the stock market? He brought the stock, but what about the rest of the economy?
And,
Fortunately, we can be able to invest in stocks, but there's people
right.
out there who can't. So
Yeah.
he's supposed to be a president for all, not just for
Yeah.
stockholders,
Right.
for people who
But
invest.
but he doesn't see it that way, obviously, and people or as he said the other day, or not the other day, but as he said in the tape that was released the other day,
Right.
they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about black folks and how white folks feel about blacks and suppression and oppression, and as he told Bob Woodward, you're drinking the Kool-Aid, huh? No,
Yeah.
no, no. And
Yeah.
that's what folks are doing. So $100 million going primarily to advertising, English and Spanish advertising, and showing that how important this vote, and because Biden and Trump are really very close, they're neck and neck
Right.
according to some of the polls. And they're all important 29 electoral votes that are up for grabs as a result of what's going on in Florida. So
In
we shall
Florida.
see.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are hoping that Mike Bloomberg will come across with the money. Some of it's coming from his own personal super PAC and some other parts of his empire,
Right.
but they're
Conglomerate.
looking forward to it. Some folks are still giving Mike Bloomberg the side eye because he promised to keep his organization going, his campaign organization going, even if he dropped out. He did. He closed everything down, and all of those people that left their jobs in order to work for Mike Bloomberg were left holding the
Right.
unemployment bag, as it were. They got to keep their phones and computers, and maybe they were able to go to the pawn shop and get some cash for that. I don't know, but people are wondering about the promises that he has made, and so we'll see. You were talking about Breonna Taylor, obviously still waiting
Yeah.
for the Attorney General of Kentucky to make the decision. There's some reports that a grand jury, uh, if it hasn't been already called into session, will be soon regarding this case. The Black Attorney
Hmm.
General, Daniel Cameron, has promised Breonna Taylor's family that he will tell them what his decision is before they make it public, but it's supposed to be any day now. A lot of folks were wondering if how close to the election they were going to wait. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Um, but in speaking of Breonna Taylor, her name was a center court, if you will, last week
Yes.
during the U.S. Open. And how proud of Naomi Osaka are we?
Very. And and what's funny is that I was on the fence with her a little while ago because
Hmm.
she wasn't really claiming her black side for a
Hmm.
minute. But then
Hmm.
as I think about it, she was young. She probably had that was probably under the direction of an agent or a manager to
Hmm.
do that. And now she's basically like she's a woman and she has her own mind and she can speak for herself and she can make decisions for herself. I think what she's been doing is amazing. To not only wear a different mask for each of the victims who were murdered,
Yeah,
for no reason basically, and but just to perform and do such
yeah,
class, and also to remember Kobe.
yeah.
That's another thing that
Oh,
another
yeah,
layer
yeah, yeah,
to have a
yeah.
Kobe jersey on
Right. And
was incredible.
and she talked about her relationship with Kobe and how sometimes, she would just pick up her phone and there would be a text from him encouraging her and just without,
Mm,
any provocation, just saying, how you doing, just checking on you, or after a match or, whatever, and talking about that great relationship. But every match, all 7 matches, and so after the first match, and people were saying, well, what's up with the mask with Breonna Taylor's? And she said, well, I'm just hoping that people will say, who is this Breonna Taylor? Maybe they'll
right,
Google her, maybe they'll get more information
right,
and find out what happened, what the story was with Breonna Taylor. And she said, but I'm telling you, I got 6 more masks to go, and every
right,
day.
right, right,
And how she, ended up on that last day with Tamir Rice. And amongst those that she had, the Breonna Taylor was first, Elijah McClain, Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Philando Castile, and then Tamir Rice in the finals. And she
it
really
was.
has she has made a real journey, especially since George Floyd's murder, and going to Minneapolis, she and her boyfriend, and
Yeah,
and being a part of the protest, and encouraging people, even in Japan, encouraging people to be a part of the Black
right.
Lives Matter protests. It's great. It's
And
just
it was bittersweet because it's bittersweet for me because I hated seeing Serena, not
of course,
advance
yeah,
and
yeah,
lose. But this was a great this was a great, like, oh, okay, Serena's out, man, you're sad, but then you're like, you know what? I'm
this,
not mad. I'm
yeah.
not mad
I'm
at all
not
that
mad. I'm not mad as much,
Osaka,
and
Naomi,
right, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not mad either.
It's
I'm with
almost like
you.
the spirits. It's almost like the spirits
Yeah.
of those names she wore were guiding
Mhm.
her along. It's almost like
Yeah.
they came back and rallied around her and gave her, to be right on her game. Even
Yeah.
Kobe. So if you want to
Yeah.
add an 8 to
Just
that
another.
7,
Yeah. Yeah.
with the jersey, you got 7 people,
Yeah.
spirits guiding you
Yeah.
and making you get every ball, and
And
it
with
was just
her, with
amazing to watch.
every swing. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people
Yeah,
are talking about
yeah,
how she is the face of the new progressive and activist movement within a sport which is really not
yeah.
known for that. Even if you look at Venus and Serena,
Right,
they did
right.
fight for the equality for women being paid in tennis, but not in terms
Women,
of
yes.
of what's going on our streets today. And so, and even when she stood alone in saying that she wasn't going to play after the shooting of Jacob Blake. And eventually other players did support her, as well as the tennis associations. But she stood strong, and I just have so much respect for her. And even, when she took to social media and she said, before anything, before I'm an athlete, I'm a Black woman. And so I was like, okay, go
Yeah.
ahead, Black woman, do your thing. So not mad at
And
that.
and as much as my generation and well, our generation wants to look kind of talk about the younger generations,
Hmm.
there are a lot of good people. There
Yeah,
are a lot of good in those generations behind us that are
yeah.
doing the right thing. So let's not let a few bad apples spoil the whole generation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of which, I don't know if you saw our show last Monday, but that generation, Damon Williams' son, Damon and his son were on here last week, and Damon Williams' son is featured in the current issue of Vanity Fair magazine with Breonna Taylor's painting on the cover, and he's doing great things in Chicago, and
That's so dope.
he was one of those chosen to be lauded and to spotlighted in that editor's
Yeah.
edition of that. So good on them, and good folks out there. Like you said, the younger generation, those young people are doing great things, and we should applaud them absolutely and encourage them.
Yeah.
So, how is the coronavirus pandemic treating you at this point? Because as you mentioned, uh, you're not going out. You're not on the stages as often as you obviously
I
were
think
before all of this. And
I think
so,
we got
can
cut
you
off
hear
a bit.
me?
Hold on.
Okay,
Make sure we can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. I think we got cut off a bit. Hold on.
Okay,
Okay. I can't hear you for some reason.
you can't hear me. I keep talking. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You can't hear me.
I feel like Teddy Riley right now. I can't hear a thing. I can't hear
You
you, but
can't
you can
hear
hear me
me.
still,
I'm
right?
talking to you. I'm talking. I
Let
keep
me let,
talking.
let me try. Let me try
Okay.
taking these out. Maybe it's the
Okay.
ear pods. Hold on.
Okay. So I was asking Guy because he said that he misses the stage so much as a result of coronavirus, not getting on stage. Because I think Guy was one of those that traveled for 300 days out of 365 a year, if not more than that. Maybe even
Hello?
like 50. I can hear you now. We can't see you, but I
I
can
still
hear
can't.
you. You still can't? Do you want to go out and come back altogether? So I will, and we'll keep talking about this because the coronavirus situation, not only affecting comedians and those who make their money in the entertainment business, but definitely our teachers who are frontline workers for all intents and purposes. I don't care what you say, and I think a lot more parents will appreciate the work that teachers do now the children have been home for several months.
Okay.
But this, how about? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Guy? You can? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It was a browser. It was a browser issue.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I had to log on.
So I got you. So we were talking about the fact that you really need to be on somebody's stage, and
Man,
as
you
a
know,
result of the pandemic.
Sybil, the first 3 to 4 months I was fine, because I was doing a whole bunch of traveling and I needed that break. And I honestly thought maybe after 3 or 4 months would be okay. Maybe in a different administration we would have been, but this administration was not still okay. And it's starting the screws are starting to come loose a little bit because it's that live audience that I miss.
Yeah.
And just I'm quarantined by myself, so it's I have to go out and just get some fresh air and be around other people, social distancing. But I still miss that microphone in my hand and that instant gratification. I know a lot of people do the internet shows and things like that, even the drive-throughs. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's that instant gratification. It's not being able to share your point of view and be reckless. I mean, when I'm live, I'm reckless.
Right.
I love being reckless and unfiltered and just in the moment. Also, when so my friends are catching it. They're mad. They're getting all my jokes. Like they're on the other end of them, and they're like, "Man, you need to go back on stage." So it's I'm just like this police officer wired a certain way. I'm wired to just automatically start tearing somebody apart.
Yeah.
And that's how I explained it to the officer I was talking to. I'm wired. The minute I see someone, no matter who it is, I'm already dissecting you, just in case I need to come at you for something. I'm already, if you have a weird eye, a weird ear, your shoes are whack, whatever, we're automatically trained to just go into that mode and be ready and be quick with it.
Right.
And so all my friends are catching that now because I have no other outlet other than them. When we're smoking cigars, social distancing, but they're tired of it. They're tired of me.
So, Guy, how does that affect you? Even like yesterday with watching the game, what did you do? How did you interact with any of the other LA Rams fans?
Well, the good thing about it is our cigar lounge is open for limited hours.
Okay.
And we're able to social distance, so they do have a patio, and it is big enough, and not a lot of people are coming out. So the few that are down there, we're able to be 6 feet apart and watch the game. The screen is big enough, and there was a couple of Cowboy fans that I wanted to be 6 feet away from me. But it was good. The trash talking is not as bad because you don't want to, when you trash talking, you get loud and you drinking and it gets crazy.
Yeah.
But it was still trash talking going on. It was fun. It was fun because and to get that victory, and with the Lakers, we I got Roland Martin the other night, man. I called him and I posted something for Roland Martin because you know how Houston he is.
Right.
It was fun to go at Roland.
Yeah, it's always fun, and comedians find Roland and they can go in immediately. But he's such a good sporter. I mean, he'll come back and it's crazy.
Roland
He's so wrong. He's so wrong.
In terms of a wash machine with the that's my guy. He's having a rough weekend because the Texans lost.
Yep.
And then the
Aggies.
They dropped some games.
To
the Dodgers, and then the Rockets are out. So
yeah. It's
rolling. Roll your butt back to Houston. I know he don't live in Houston, but he needs to roll himself to Houston.
But his roots are there. You're absolutely right. Right. So, Guy, I got to ask you this because you are a savvy businessman, and I know that you are always looking for great opportunities. Are you one who has invested in the cannabis industry?
You know what? I wasn't because I don't smoke the wacky tobacco. But now it's not wacky. It's wacky.
Right.
But I thought about it. Now a lot of my friends have like a rapper, Big Tradie from the East Siders, is heavily invested into it and doing well. My friend Gary Payton, who has invested in it and is doing quite well. I mean, so I'm like, you know what? I think it's time. And when you see people like Whoopi, and getting into it, and like, you know what? It may be time to look at other investment. I mean, my whole thing was always entertainment, and now we see that you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay, you're right. So this was our final story, the fifth story in today's newsletter, and Black cannabis entrepreneurs cashing in on the $75 billion market. They are tapping into all aspects of the industry, from venture capital funds to dispensaries, and even creating their own line of cannabis items, as you mentioned, Whoopi Goldberg, and we know that Montel Jordan has been a supporter, and our friend John Sally.
Yeah, John has been into it for years.
I said Montel Jordan. It shows where my mind is. Montel Williams is Well,
he has MS.
Yes.
So,
and
cannabis is really good for those who have MS or any type of inflammatory illness.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that. And John Sally's been into it forever,
Yeah.
like forever. So it's not new to him. He's a vegan. He has his own vegan wine out as well,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's getting into this. Well, been into it, but just go growing. And Snoop, I went to
Right.
a golf tournament
Uh,
that George Lopez has, and Snoop had they sponsor different holes.
yeah.
And Snoop had his whole
Holes.
setup there. Holes, yes,
Holes.
Holes. Pronounce it. And he had his son, the one who was a football player turned model. He had his son working his booth, and Snoop had all the liquids to fertilize your soil for
Oh,
the growth.
wow.
He had a whole different strains of strands. I guess is it strange or strange?
I
Right?
thought it was strains. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it has it, and each bottle to make sure your soil is right.
Wow.
And to get proper light. I mean, it's a whole education.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, I mean, your boy, Jay-Z,
Yeah.
the partnership with the California cannabis brand, Caliva, and taking on its chief brand strategist can possibly make a difference. And the $75 million funding round in 2019 and plans to expand operations and
Man,
include a workforce training program. That is
tough,
so
tough
awesome.
ass, man. I was thinking about getting, my own cigar line.
Right.
I may have to change. I may have to switch up for a minute and then come back to the cigar.
I think that it's amazing. The other part of this is that a lot of these cannabis growing farms are affected by the fires right now,
Right.
and so that's obviously going to make a difference in a lot of people's business plans. But we're hoping for the best for all of those that are affected by the fires.
Yeah.
So Guy, life is good for you right now. Your Rams won last night. The Lakers are still in it to win it, right?
Yes.
Your Cardinals are still in it to win it.
With
They're
80% chance of making the playoffs.
okay, okay.
I'm 4 games behind the Cubs. Congratulations on your no-hitter.
Well, you know what? I don't mess with the Cubs anymore because I just
Oh,
think that the ownership is very racist and I'm
got
not,
it.
I moved away from them. But I am supporting the Chicago White Sox, and
White
so
Sox.
they also had a no hitter before the Cubs did this season.
Right.
So, um, but everything is good for you right now, and so this is just a really good time for you. So what do you have to complain about? What's piqued you? What is
There's a lot to complain about with with what's going on in our country. Is
yeah.
really that, but I'm very excited that, and I can't say too much because I end up selling the project that I've been
Hmm.
talking about forever. It's finally sold. We have a home,
Nice.
and I'm waiting to start production like any day now, like any day.
Awesome.
I think that will calm my not being on the road,
Right.
when
Right.
we go into production and start these interviews and start, production for real. I still been doing a lot of work on it on my own just to get ahead of the curve.
Right.
But I'm very, very excited about that, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome project that I can't wait to get started. And I think most of when I say screws are falling out, I think it's anxiety because I'm
Hmm.
so ready to go. I'm
Right.
so ready to get this thing going, and I'm really excited about it.
I'm very excited for you. I can't wait for you to come back and tell us that you guys are underway and what's going
Yeah,
on.
I want to make an announcement, but the company, the studio that's doing it, wants to get with their marketing and publicity
Hmm.
department and announce it the right way about the acquisition. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting patiently, waiting
Well,
very patiently.
as soon as you're able to come back and tell us
Well,
what's going on, and tomorrow I'm inviting you to watch us as we are participating with
Divine
the
Nine.
Divine Nine, the round table with all the presidents of the historically Black fraternities and sororities. But Guy, you got to tell us your story. So one day we're sitting there, and of course Tom is an Omega. Guy's brother Joe is an Omega, and we're talking about, so Guy, did you pledge? And you
Uh,
told us. the story.
I always wanted to be an Omega, even when I was in high school. I always wanted to be an Omega. And where I went to college at Southeast Missouri State, at the time, they didn't have any Qs on the yard.
Mm-hmm.
But we got wind of a chapter may be coming because there was one Q, Timothy Tripp, who was on the yard. And so me and my friends, we all wanted to be Omegas. My college roommate Leon Whitener, who's a captain in St. Louis at the St. Louis Fire Department, and we want to practice. So we want to like get ready for all the things we heard about what pledging is. So we got some wood. We got a paddle. Got a paddle. So we were practicing getting paddle because I won't say because they clown me for saying taking wood. So we were getting our butts ready so that when the we would be ready. Like we could take those paddles and what fools we were. Because they eventually came long after I already got thrown out from college. So we took all that paddling for nothing. We were throwing, hot sauce in each other's eyes to get ready. I used to hear all the stories that, when my brother Joe plays at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, all the stuff, how they had him try to blow out a light bulb in the cafeteria, and all crazy stuff that they used to do. Like, we're going to do it all so we'll be ready. And we were fools, man. We were fools.
Guy, that's still one of my favorite stories.
It's almost like that movie, what was it, Get Hard, that Kevin Hart did?
Yeah.
Trying to get ready.
Right, yeah.
That's what we were doing. Trying to get ready for Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
Oh God. Well, if there are any Omegas watching, would you still like to go in as honorary?
You know what? My friend Rodney Hubbard in St. Louis, Hubbard Cigars, he just was out here and he took Anthony Anderson and D.L. Hughley over. So now they are Omega men.
Yeah, DL's going to be with us tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
So yeah, man, it's hey. I don't know if I want to go that route or the traditional route. I'm a little,
right. Yeah.
Cross the
well, I mean, if you ask, maybe they'll bring out the paddle and whatever blows your skirt up, player.
Let me get ready.
Guy, I so appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much. And as always, you're always welcome. Anything you need to get off your chest or some jokes you want to throw out there, the door is always open to you to come on what you need to know.
I'll let you know about that project as soon
as
they give me the green light to say anything.
Good. I'm very excited for you and excited about all that you have going on. And just really cool. So tomorrow we will see you, and we will be here as a part of history as we sit here with the Divine Nine and the roundtable discussion as we educate and motivate and get folks ready to go to the polls. 7 weeks from tomorrow is Election Day. Folks in Pennsylvania could have already gone to early vote today, as a matter of fact. But we will be here tomorrow. We'll see you at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 on the West Coast Pacific time. And come ready, and we will, and all of the members of the Divine Nine, come and support your president. So we appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow here on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Take care, and we'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.